Let me tell you the truth right now. Most people aren't living the life they want. They're surviving, not thriving. They're existing, not leading. Why? Because something is holding them back, not just one thing, but 5 core patterns that sabotage nearly everyone before they even begin to take control. If you want to shift, if you want to rise, if you want to reclaim the power you were born with, you need to recognize what's keeping you stuck. You can't conquer what you won't confront, so let's confront these 5 enemies head on. The first is fear of failure. It's not failure itself that paralyzes people. It's what they make it mean, that they're not good enough, that they're not worthy, that they'll be judged. But listen, failure isn't the opposite of success. It's the path to it. Every giant you admire walked through failure over and over. They didn't let fear stop them. They made fear their fuel. If you're afraid to fail, you'll never try. And if you never try, you'll stay in a life that feels smaller than your spirit was built for. Second, the addiction to comfort. Comfort is a beautiful place, but nothing ever grows there. Too many people would rather stay in a predictable pain than risk the unknown. They'd rather stay in a job they hate, a relationship that drains them, or a habit that breaks them, just because it feels familiar. But growth only happens when you step outside of what you know. Discomfort is the currency of transformation. You can either choose the pain of discipline or the pain of regret, but you will feel pain. Choose the one that moves you forward. Third, the lies we tell ourselves. I'm not ready. I'm not smart enough. I'll start tomorrow. These are just stories, and stories shape your reality. Change your story, and you change your life. The mind is a master at justifying your inaction. You've got to break that loop, interrupt that pattern, replace lies with truth. You are ready. You are capable. You've just been hypnotized into playing small. Wake up, rip those false beliefs out by the root. You can rewrite the script anytime. That time is now. Fourth, the need for approval. Let me say it clearly. If you need everyone to like you, you will betray yourself. The need for validation keeps more people stuck than anything else. People live their whole lives trying to meet the expectations of parents, peers, partners, and then wake up at 60 wondering why they feel empty. Here's the truth. Not everyone will understand your journey. Not everyone will support your growth. That's okay. You don't need permission to become who you were meant to be. Give yourself the approval you've been chasing. Fifth, lack of clarity and vision. If you don't know what you want, you'll settle for whatever life throws at you. Most people are drifting, hoping something good will happen. That's not how control works. Power comes from vision. You need to know where you're going and why it matters. You need to feel it so deeply that it pulls you forward even when you're exhausted. Clarity creates confidence. It turns chaos into direction. If you don't have a vision for your life, someone else will use you for theirs. Don't let that happen. So what's the message? It's this. These 5 things, fear, comfort, lies, approval, and confusion, are not stronger than you. They're only powerful when you give them permission. The moment you decide that your future matters more than your excuses. The moment you take full ownership of your life, everything changes. Take your power back. Take control and never hand it over again. You've got one life, make it count. Fear and comfort are 2 of the most deceptive forces in life. They don't always shout, they whisper. They creep into your decisions quietly, making you hesitate, making you stall. Fear tells you that you're not ready, that failure would be too painful, that you might embarrass yourself or lose everything. Comfort tells you that it's safer to stay where you are, to keep things familiar, even if they're unfulfilling. And without even realizing it, people end up stuck in lives they never chose, lives shaped by avoidance rather than ambition. What most don't understand is that fear isn't the enemy, it's actually a signal. A sign that you're stepping into something unfamiliar, something meaningful, something with potential. But instead of interpreting that fear as a green light, most people treat it like a stop sign. They back away. They choose safety over growth, even though safety often means stagnation. The truth is, every great breakthrough, every meaningful success requires walking through fear, not around it. You can't reach your next level if you're constantly trying to avoid discomfort. Comfort, on the other hand, is seductive. It lulls you into thinking things are fine when deep down you know they're not. People stay in debt, in jobs, unhealthy relationships, and self-destructive habits simply because they've gotten used to them. The brain is wired to seek familiarity, even if that familiarity is slowly killing your passion, your creativity, your drive. But here's the catch: nothing extraordinary ever comes from staying comfortable. Every achievement, every transformation, every leap forward in life comes from stepping outside that comfort zone and facing the unknown. The people who win in life are not those without fear. They're the ones who act despite fear. They're the ones who feel the discomfort and move anyway. They've trained themselves to recognize that the pain of growth is far less costly than the pain of regret. Regret is the real enemy. It's what eats away at you when you realize you played small not because you lacked potential, but because you let fear and comfort win. You cannot take control of your life if you're constantly bowing to fear and clinging to comfort. At some point, you have to choose growth or safety, power or paralysis, expansion or routine. The life you want isn't hiding behind some magical opportunity. It's hiding behind the decisions you've been avoiding. And the moment you stop letting fear make your choices and start using discomfort as a compass, you become unstoppable. Taking control of your life means saying yes to uncertainty and no to excuses. It means welcoming discomfort like a friend and using fear as fuel. It's not easy, but it's worth it, because on the other side of fear and beyond the walls of comfort lies the life you were always meant to live. The stories we tell ourselves are some of the most powerful forces shaping our lives, whether we realize it or not. Every day, in thousands of subtle ways, we speak to ourselves internally, and those words either move us forward or keep us stuck. The truth is, most people are trapped not by their circumstances, but by their own beliefs. These beliefs often take the form of quiet lies: I'm not ready, I'm not good enough, I don't have what it takes, or it's too late for me. These thoughts don't just live in the mind, they shape behavior, limit choices, and shrink possibilities. When you repeat a story long enough, it becomes your identity, and once something becomes your identity, you fight to protect it, even if it's hurting you. You start filtering reality to match that story. You avoid opportunities because that's not who I am. You resist change because I've never been the kind of person who can do that. These aren't facts, they're interpretations. They're assumptions dressed up as truths. And yet they govern people's lives like chains. But here's the game: changing insight. Stories can be rewritten. Just like a movie script or a chapter in a book, the narrative you've been living can be edited, flipped, or replaced. The first step is awareness. You've got to listen to the voice in your head and question it. Whose voice is it? Where did this belief come from? Is it true, or is it just something you picked up from pain, failure, or someone else's opinion? Most of the time, these beliefs were formed in moments of fear or rejection, and yet we treat them like gospel. Once you become aware, you get to decide. You can replace "I'm not ready" with "every master was once a beginner." You can swap "I always mess things up" with "every failure is a lesson guiding me forward." You can say "I don't have the resources," and then remember that resourcefulness matters more than resources. The moment you shift your internal dialogue, your external world starts to follow. Taking control of your life doesn't start with action. It starts with belief, because the strongest force in human psychology is the need to stay consistent with who we believe we are. If you see yourself as broken, small, incapable, you will subconsciously act in ways that reinforce that image. But if you begin to see yourself as powerful, resilient, and worthy, your actions will begin to match that truth. The key is to become the author of your own story, not just a character living by someone else's script. Tear out the old pages that don't serve you, write new ones, speak a new truth even if you don't fully believe it yet. Over time, with repetition and emotion, your nervous system starts to accept the new identity. And from that identity comes different decisions, different standards, and a radically different life. Change your story, and you change everything. Clarity and vision are the foundation of taking control in life. Without them, you drift, You react to life instead of creating it. You follow someone else's agenda instead of designing your own. The truth is, most people are not in charge of their lives simply because they haven't decided where they're going. They wake up, go through the motions, handle whatever comes up, and hope things get better. But hope is not a strategy, clarity is. When you lack vision, life becomes overwhelming. You say yes to things that don't matter, waste time on distractions, and lose momentum on what really counts. You chase what's urgent instead of what's meaningful. And eventually, you start to feel lost, stuck, and frustrated not because you're incapable, but because you're unclear. Clarity gives you the power to say no to what's unimportant and an unshakable reason to pursue what is. Think about it. No one ever built anything great by accident. No one achieved mastery or fulfillment by chance. They saw it first in their mind, they envisioned it, they felt it. They connected their goals to something bigger than just a task list. That's what vision does. It ignites emotion, purpose, and direction. When you know where you're going and why it matters, it pulls you forward, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. The lack of vision leads many people to hand over control of their lives to others. They let their parents, society, friends, or even social media define what success looks like. They live by someone else's definition of a good life, only to wake up years later wondering why they're unfulfilled. Taking control means deciding what matters to you. What do you want? What lights your soul on fire? What kind of life would make you proud when you look back years from now? These are the questions most people avoid, but they're the ones that set you free. Clarity is also not just about long-term dreams, it's about knowing what your next step is. You don't have to see the entire staircase to start climbing. You just need to be honest with yourself about what you want and what's been getting in your way. When you're clear on what matters, decision-making becomes easier. You stop second-guessing everything. You stop procrastinating. You stop letting fear drive the car. Clarity becomes your compass, and with that, you move with confidence. And here's the truth, clarity isn't something you wait for, it's something you create. You create it by asking the hard questions. You create it by getting quiet, listening to your gut, and tuning out the noise. You create it by trying, failing, adjusting, and trying again. Every action gives you feedback. Every experience sharpens your direction. Taking control of your life starts with getting crystal clear on what you want and aligning everything with that vision. When your vision is strong enough, your excuses fade. When your why is powerful, your how starts to show up. And that's when momentum begins. That's when life starts working for you because you're finally leading it.